Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Nick Tan Chats. My name is Nick Tan, and on today's episode, I'll be chatting with you guys about a video download from Minehouse. This is for What Happens in the Shadows by Louis Laval and Benjamin Francis. So hi again guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for showing up, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for spending some time with me today. So today's little chat will be about a video download from Minehouse, okay? And this was actually a project that took me some time to work through because it's actually 5 hours worth of material, right? So it's not a small project, you know, it's gonna be quite a long one. You know, it will take you some time to work through it. But on today's episode, I will try to give you kind of like a bare bones description of what you can expect if you do decide to pick this up from Minehouse. So this is a project that I think was quite relevant for me personally because if you know what I do, you know, I perform as a mentalist here in Singapore, and I do like kind of two main types of shows, right? There is the commercial show that I perform for dinner and dance events, you know, the one that I perform, you know, the most regularly, and then there's also the ticketed kind of shows as well, you know, the theater type of shows, which I try to do anytime I can. In fact, I've only done like a handful. You know, I did one in 2011, then there was one in 2019, 2023, and then I'm currently also running another one at a really small and cozy theater. So as a little confession, you know, being a corporate performer and performing at dinner and dance events mainly, it really is, you know, at times, you know, while you are performing for, you know, hundreds to like thousands of people, it really is the most least satisfying kind of performance that you can do, right, as an artist. There is really little space in my arena, at least, you know, for really long drawn presentations, you know, and you know, kind of, you know, if you want to kind of affect people with any kind of vision, all right, I find it quite difficult. And so there's a need for me to kind of perform the kind of ticketed kind of events, right? And in these kinds of environments, right, the dynamic between you and the audience is different. While not many people will attend such shows, those who attend the show will care about the material at least, you know, and I think that gives me a better kind of a space, you know, to kind of perform a more effective kind of mentalism. And that is where this video project comes in, all right? Because it is a video project that tells you all about planning, all right, and how to go about designing and creating and writing your own ticketed show. So for some time, you know, I've watched and rewatched, you know, two of Louis's full shows, all right? They are actually on YouTube, you know, so if you haven't watched them already, please do, you know, check them out. One is called The Parlor Room Seance, and the other show is a show called The Witch of the Woods. And what I like about this video project is that they take these two shows and they talk about these two shows to teach you the concepts, right, or the ideas that this project wants to deliver to you. And I find that really useful because there is like a live example, right, of what, you know, it is that they are talking about. So, you know, Darren Brown recently released Notes from a Fellow Traveler, you know, and I found that useful as well because it was based upon Showman, right, his show, and I thought that was a really good way of kind of imparting knowledge because there is like a working example that you can watch in action while he and you know, Louis and Benjamin talk about the ideas that they want to teach you. So as I mentioned earlier, you know, this video project is quite a long one, you know, it's 5 hours long, but it is actually split up into like various chapters. Okay, and I will just kind of briefly talk a little bit about what each of these chapters will cover. So the first chapter is a chapter called Where to Begin, all right? And it's here that, you know, Louis and Benjamin will talk about, you know, literally where to begin, right? Where to start having that seed of an idea for your show. So I think the main takeaway from this particular chapter is that your show has to be about something. It has to have a theme of some kind, you know. It's not going to be a show where, you know, you just kind of string a whole bunch of tricks together. It's got to have a meaning, a theme of some kind that binds the whole show together. Taking this kind of an approach, well, it's certainly more cohesive, all right, cohesive, and also I think it gives the show a sense of, like, I don't know, style or a kind of artistic flavor to it, you know, which you would not have, right, if you just merely you know, string a whole bunch of tricks together and to, you know, perform and fill up the time, basically. And then Benjamin and Lewis will talk about something called visualization, okay? And it is here, you know, that they start talking about the kinds of effects that you can incorporate in your show, okay? Now, why the theme has to come first before this section is, well, the theme will drive the whole thing, right? So they discuss ideas about how, you know, based upon your theme that you have chosen, right? And then from there, you kind of think about the stuff that you can do, right? The material that you can do based upon that theme, right? Anything that will support your theme, then you can kind of consider it for inclusion in your show, okay? So I think most of the time, even in my first theatre show, I kind of went about it the other way around. You know, I kind of thought about it as, I want to do this effect, this effect, this effect, this routine is cool, and I want to do this as well. And then, you know, it just feels a little bit, you know, disjointed. So instead of doing that, again, you know, start from theme, and then from there, you know, they'll talk about how you can, you know, visualize, all right, about, you know, the kind of effects that you can do, which will support your theme. And then they will talk about a really important section, something called scripting, okay? And this is something that I really enjoyed watching, you know, because I think scripting is really just so important, you know. And while I do script, you know, and if you have watched my performances, I think you can tell that, you know, there are some parts which are quite scripted. They allow you, right, the script, right, allows you a kind of freedom, you know, to perform the show, because you know exactly where you are going. It can be scripting based upon, you know, instructions you give to the audience, scripting based on, you know, delivering the story or the presentation, every little bit, right? You know, at this point, you know, the props are moved here, you pick this prop up at this point when you say this. So it really is really invaluable, right, that your scripting is really tight. It will help with the overall feel and the professional feel of the show as well, you know. So in this section, you know, Benjamin and Lewis will talk about scripting and how to go about developing your scripts. They'll give you strategies about how to, you know, write your scripts as well, you know, which I found to be really helpful and really interesting. Then they will also discuss with you props. Okay, so the kind of props that you use in the show, they are really quite detailed, you know, in the sense that the props that they use has to fit, or rather have to fit, the kind of theme that they have. They will discuss, you know, ideas about how to make your props look more realistic, you know, and you really have to have conscious decisions, you know, about what it is you use in your show. Even, you know, things like tables, for example. You know, I'm guilty of this, you know, where I just use whatever table is kind of convenient, or whatever it is I have, right? A spider flex table, for example. It might not necessarily fit the theme of the show, right? So in order to create the whole experience, the whole illusion, right, and the immersive feeling, right, that you're trying to give your audience, all these little things have to be considered, right? Do you use like a chair for your audience to sit on, or do you use like a crate, you know, like a box of some kind, you know? Are your props nice and new and shiny, or do they look, you know, worn and weathered, you know, that kind of a thing. So they do give you a lot of food for thought about how to make your props fit the whole theme of your show itself. They will also discuss with you, you know, things about lighting, you know, and sound as well, you know, and how, you know, lighting and sound really can change the show, you know. And again, you know, embarrassingly, this is something that I've been neglecting as well, you know, in my own work. When we talk about sound, it's not just about, you know, whether you can be heard, you know, the kind of microphone you use. It is also about, you know, the music, you know, the kind of background sounds that you're playing, you know. Are there like bells in the background? Are there like birds, you know, chirping away? You know, are there like crickets, you know, what sound do crickets make? Crickets. All right, so, you know, are there crickets around, you know, if you are discussing like, you know, a scene where it's night, you know, night has fallen and stuff like that. So these are little elements that they will discuss with you and give you some ideas about to create a scene, okay, in your show itself. They will also tell you the importance of music, about how music can really affect the mood of a show. And if you do watch really, well-produced shows, right? Lewis's shows, for example, Darren, right? If you watch his shows as well, you will know that, music is such a big point, right? It provides you emphasis, it creates punches, it can create a certain mood as well. So this is, it's an area that I really do need to pay more attention to, I think. Towards the end of the video, they will also discuss with you the business side of doing a show like that, okay? And this was, again, something that I had a lot of trouble with in planning my whole show, right? Because it's not just about having a show. You have a show, but you need to have, first of all, a venue. You have to have a venue to run the show. And then, with the venue itself, well, for me at least, then comes all the, the licensing, right? The insurance policies that you need to, take up, and the music copyright licenses and stuff, fire safety and all these stuff, right? And then not only that, there is also the ticketing, of how to go about handling your ticketing. Do you do it yourself? Do you get an online ticketing company to handle it for you? There's issues with promotion, poster design and stuff like that. So Lewis and Ben will tell you all these little details that you can and should actually pay attention to, and give you some ideas as well for the kinds of venues that you can play at, and also how to approach the venues as well. So this is, I think, really an important aspect of putting together a show, because without a venue, you're not going to be performing the show at all. So, all in all, I found this to be quite a good project to sit through, right? For me, it's long, all right. Granted, it's long, and obviously, I couldn't go through it in like one sitting, right? But it was really useful for me, because even though I'm already trying to do these kinds of ticketed shows, these are actually examples that I can just watch and follow along, right? Because the living examples are already there for you to watch, right? As I mentioned, right, the two shows that Lewis has performed, right, the Parlor Room Seance as well as the Witch of the Woods, both are beautiful shows, which I've really found to be really inspirational. And to have a behind the scenes kind of a video about how these two shows came about, the considerations, the stuff that they thought about, and how they put things together. It was a really interesting experience for me. Okay, as I mentioned, as well, right, with Darren's book, he used examples from showmen, right, and that kind of really makes you connect with the teaching, because if you just were to listen to someone just tell you about all the concepts and stuff, it feels very theoretical, very conceptual, right? But if they have actual living examples of what is happening and why they're doing it that way, you can learn it and then watch it in action, and I thought this is really a great way to learn about the concepts that are behind the project. That being said, I think this will be a very niche project. All right, only if you're going to be doing like ticketed shows, because I think if you are, the kind of performer that does just commercial shows, then this might not be that relevant to you, right? It's more for those of you who are looking to, do your own theater show, your own ticketed show, and if you are, in that category, and if you do see yourself doing these sorts of shows, then this is a valuable video for you to work your way through, all right, because they really do cover a lot of really good points, all right, and again with examples from Lewis's actual show. All right, so I want to thank Louis Laval for really kindly, letting me in on this project so that I can watch it, learn from it, and be inspired and to chat about it with you guys on this show as well. If you want to pick up a copy of What Happens in the Shadows, do visit the link in the description box down below. Also, Louis Laval recently celebrated his birthday, so happy birthday to you, Louis. Thank you for being the performer that you are, the generous person that you are, and please do continue to inspire all of us in the mentalism community. Alright guys, but that's all for today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it as well. Till the next one, please do stay safe, take care of yourselves, have fun with your magic and your mentalism, and I will see you on the next one.